And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you win in any marketplace. We're going to make it just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we're talking about helping you win in 80 different categories of business and finance, estate and tax planning, mortgage, credit, and so much more here. We're going to help you win on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you may need it, 813-670-7372. That's our Consumer Advocate Hotline, 813-670-7372. And make sure you bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. Great lineup for you today. Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Brandon. How you doing today? It's a beautiful day out here and no rain, and it's gorgeous. So good to be here.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about real estate fact and fiction on today's show. That's what you got lined up for us.
That's correct. I'm going to talk about, what people think and what reality is.
Absolutely. Very different things in many cases.
That's true.
William Crowley back on the Consumer Quarterback Show, the credit expert, the credit magician, myths of credit repair.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to talk about that. And more specifically, we're going to talk about credit repair versus traditional credit repair versus credit restoration assistance, the program that we created over 15 years ago that is definitely concrete and a program that's much more efficient than traditional credit repair.
Nice.
So I'm going to be talking about that.
Good stuff. Yeah, that sounds good. We got a feel-good story of the day as well. Back in the blue, we got police officer buys homeless man a new pair of shoes in our feel-good story, plus our great lineup for you to hear on the show. We're going to talk about some of the latest stats and things happening right here in Tampa Bay. Before we jump into it, I want to give a big shout out to Golf Cart Depot of Tampa Bay. Two locations right here in Tampa. They've got a Lando Lakes location, Clearwater location, Easy Go. They have Star EV, Cushman, remanufactured, and Icon electric vehicles as well as pre-owned. Check out our friends at Golf Cart Depot. Say hello to Marty and his team, and make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, let's jump right into it today. A couple of our hot listings from Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. We got 6417 Yvette Drive. This is up in Hudson Beach. So Hudson Beach, a great opportunity in Pasco County. Beautiful property, waterfront, deep water access to the Gulf of Mexico. Bring your boat, bring your fishing poles. 6417 Yvette Drive in Hudson. One of our hot real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team. And it's got a great opportunity there in beautiful Tampa Bay. All right, let's jump into it. We got Diane, Vance in the house, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Now, first off, we talk a lot about just supporting the local economy here with our Consumer Quarterback Show. We're based right here in Tampa Bay, Hillsboro, Pinellas, Pasco, out to Manatee, Polk County, up north into Hernando and Citrus, some of those counties. But when you look at what we've done with the show, 7 years on air, and it's all about helping you, the consumer. So, Diane, let's jump right into it. What are some of these myths that you're seeing in the real estate side?
Well, so the real estate facts versus who. So in Pinellas County alone, there are almost 104,000 residents who currently rent, but they can actually afford to purchase a home. They are qualified to buy a home, so why wouldn't they? So what they think is the housing market isn't stable, but home prices in Pinellas County at least, or in Hillsboro, matter of fact, the whole Tampa Bay area, they are forecasted to appreciate about 3.9% over the next year, and over 5 years, about 20%. So that means that if they purchase a home today at the median price of $242,000, they would gain $50,000 in the next 5 years. So it's a pretty strong market, and that's the biggest misconception is why they're still renting, because they think that the housing is not as stable as it actually is. And as you know, Brandon, we have a shortage of inventory.
Right.
People are not selling right now, or they're not sure if they want to sell again because because of everything that's gone on in the market, which has nothing to do with anything anybody has done. It's just because of, what's going on with the COVID. People are thinking different things than what reality is, and the reality is that we have a very strong real estate market.
Absolutely.
So, and the other thing, people think that they have to have 20% down payment. They don't have to have 20% down payment. They can put as little as 3 or 5% down on a property. In some areas, you can actually put 0 down. And if you're a veteran, you can put 0 down. So there's a misconception that they need to save 20% down. There's a misconception that the market isn't as strong as it is, but it is very strong, and that property values have appreciated. So, and they are predicting that they're going to continue to appreciate because of exactly what we just talked about, which was the market actually being tight. There's not a lot of houses for sale. I'm having buyers come in and they're having to look at 8, 9 houses, and sometimes they're in a bidding war. So it's a good idea for people that are renting to make a plan, realize you get your credit in line, either through William or myself. Realize that you can put less than 20% down, see what you can afford.
Absolutely. And if you just joined us, we're talking with Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And Diane, the market is such that we know that there's highest and best multiple offers on, the nicer, ready to move in turnkey properties. So it's even gotten to a point where I'm assembling a group, and we're actually going to be developing our own land, our own properties. It's to the point where we know that there's so much of a demand from people that are so fed up, and especially it's a lot of the blue states and the blue cities where, there's rioting going on, the big cities, the taxes that are in New York and New Jersey, California. They're coming to Florida in droves, and not only for tax purposes, but also the opportunity to live the Florida lifestyle, the wonderful weather, the things that we know of. But so there's a lot of things happening in that space. So many times also, and then when you mention down payment, don't forget that we can negotiate. I'm a certified negotiation expert, and many members on my team are as well. And what we do is we're going to negotiate seller concessions into the deal. And we're going to make that deal make sense for the seller as well, because sometimes we offer above list price. There's escalation clauses that we put in these addendums to help you win those highly competitive situations, Diane.
Absolutely, and that's important to understand, that sellers can pay some of your closing costs or all of your closing costs, depending on how much money you put down, depending on, what the purchase price is. But that's what your team is really good at doing, and that's what we look at when we look at evaluating a customer's situation. I want to let the agent know that, hey, they do need some help with down payment, so they know what they need to go and look for and to do. So just because, and a lot of people use gift funds, a lot of relatives, parents will help their children out, or I think I helped all of my children get with down payments. So I don't want to put 20% down either for them. So,
right.
but you can get some gift funds. You can use 401k. There's a lot of ways to buy a house, and with an agent that is really strong in negotiations, then yes, the seller can pay the closing cost, and we see that a lot.
Yeah, and then also maybe you should speak a little bit about the balance, because I think sometimes people say, well, they're nervous to put, when do I put my house on the market if I want to buy a new house? Do I buy the new house first, or put that house under contract and then list my house? What have you seen? What's most prevalent, and what makes the most sense?
Well, what I see a lot of, and I actually have had this come up a lot, because we know, because the market is tight, that most sellers do not want a concession of, waiting on your house to sell.
Contingency,
contingencies on, contingency on waiting on your house to sell. So what I've seen a lot of is some people will either decide to rent out their home, or upfront we'll see if they qualify for both payments, because there are different programs that is allowed. So it just depends on your own situation. Or what I've really seen, most of the time these are move-up buyers, and they're in that hot price range of what we're talking about here, Brandon. Brandon, which is, anywhere from, $180,000 to $300,000, they're usually moving up into a new price range. So their house will actually sell. So it was real funny because I had a lady that, she was very nervous about making an offer without having her home sold. And she ended up getting an offer on her house 2 days after she actually made the offer on the other house that she was so concerned about.
Right.
So then what we do is we just do a simultaneous closing, or what we can do, we have a program that if you have your house on the market and you've sold it and you have an approval from a lender, we can actually use that approval as long as we have an approval. And let's say you're closing 2 weeks between each other, then we actually don't have to count that payment against you. The other thing you can do is if you have equity in your current house, planning ahead is good. You can always pull the equity of your house for the down payment on the new house. So it just depends on an individual situation, what you can and cannot do. Again, we go back into the reality versus fiction, and there are a lot of things you can do ahead of time prior to listing your home, prior to falling in love with other houses. Go ahead and get an equity loan so that you can pull the equity out so that you do have the down payment for the new home. And a lot of people will borrow from their 401k. Let's say they have their house up for sale and they didn't do an equity loan, or they don't have enough equity in it and they want to move up into another house. They'll do a loan against their 401k that's taken right out, and you pay yourself back basically with interest. So, a lot of people will do that. There's a lot of different ways to be able to buy the house without putting your house up for sale right away.
Well, that's good stuff.
Yep.
I also want to talk about the investor side. The investor market is super hot right now. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up as well, William Crowley is going to be weighing in about some of the myths of credit repair, some of the common misnomers around credit repair, and how to improve your credit score right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you check out consumerqb.com. Our feel-good story of the day as well. Police officer buys homeless man a new pair of shoes. Stay with us.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty right here in Tampa Bay. Top 1% real estate team. We're ranked in the top 1% here in Tampa Bay. Love to help you every day, buying, selling, or investing. Also hiring right now, so reach out if you are looking to join a great team. We'd love to talk to you. A lot of hot property listings here in Tampa Bay, about 50 listings, generating a lot of calls, a lot of leads coming in. And this segment is brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions right here in Tampa, the science of nutritional balance. Say hello to our friends Stephen and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solutions. They offer vitamin infusion drips directly into your bloodstream. It's going to help you boost your immunity, and so many people are looking to boost their immunity with the COVID-19 out there. And we got a great lineup for you today. Diane, Vance on the show, Fairway Independent Mortgage. William Crowley, the credit magician as well. Going to talk about credit improvement here after I pitched a couple of these hot properties. 520 George Street South, right here in Tampa Bay. This is in Tarpon Springs on Lake Tarpon. Wide open water views of Lake Tarpon, 2,500-acre lake. Got a private boat dock on the water, as well as a mother-in-law suite. 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs. Beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. 4209 Preserve Place. This is a in-unit condo. Beautiful condo available. You got a private community pool. You have waterfront as well. It's on a small lake. 4209 Preserve Place, Palm Harbor, Landsbrook golf community as well. Great opportunities at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we're going to hear more from Diane coming up here soon. I want to talk about the investor side of the business with Diane, but let's go to William Crowley, the credit magician, longtime friend of the program, one of our longest running expert contributors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. William, thanks for joining us.
Hey, great to be here again, man. Great to be here. Longest, that's right. One of the longest. That's right. Not maybe the longest, huh?
I think so. Right up there. You and Jay Smith, A Snoop. And,
yeah, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
Well, anyway, yeah, I was listening to Diane. I just wanted to say something before I went into my piece on the traditional credit repairs versus credit restoration assistance, or our credit restoration assistance. Now, one thing, Diane, credit is one determining factor in the amount of down payment. Would that be true?
It is. It's whether, yes, credit is very important on determining the amount of down payment. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I didn't want to say that, and you had to correct me on the air. Anyway, so here's the bottom line, though. With traditional credit repair companies, what they're doing is, I think they're overcharging people for one, and most people are not in the loop. Okay, they're being overcharged, and they're totally unaware of what's going on. They're even unaware of how this information is taken off of a credit report. So I like to inform people, look, the information does in fact belong to you. If it doesn't belong to you, then you're probably a victim of identity theft. You should file a police report and have the information removed that way. But if the information does in fact belong to you, then there's a chance, using the laws of the Fair Credit Reporting Act in combination with the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, to have a lot of this information removed, updated, and or addressed in some form or fashion legally. So how does that happen? With your traditional credit repair companies, they don't disclose this type of information, and they don't give you the information to let you know how it works. So with our credit restoration program, everything is transparent. So the client receives all the documentation, the laws of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the laws of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and how to use them. So we're doing it for you, but you're the one that's actually making copies for your records before you send the information to the credit reporting agency. This is much more valuable because the consumer now is becoming aware of this whole mystified process of credit repair, okay? Whereas something comes off your credit report, you have no idea how it comes off. Well, we're showing you exactly the law that's having it, getting it to come off, and then you get to keep that law for the future in case some new developments happen. You can use these laws again at your own convenience because we're giving you the information, or we're training you to do your own credit repair. So the information is on your credit report. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a bankruptcy, a foreclosure, tax lien, a judgment, a collection, a late payment, inquiry, etc. Anything that's adversely affecting your credit can be legally challenged, and you should be able to get a lot of the information off. We don't never tell a person you're going to get 100% off, even though I got people all the time that come to me and say, hey, 100% didn't come off. We don't never say that. It's a numbers game with the credit reporting agency, because remember, the information does, in fact, belong to you, but you're getting the information removed off your credit report based on due process violations according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So the information that is there, be it from what I just mentioned earlier, bankruptcy, tax liens, late payments, repossessions, foreclosures, collection accounts, inquiries, etc. We're going after the credit reporting agency because they're missing steps in filing this information on your credit report. The first and probably foremost step is that they have not properly verified this information that they're saying is true beyond a shadow of a doubt. So when the lenders look at the credit report, all they can do is accept what the credit report says, because the consumer has not been proactive in dealing with this information. So if you go to a lender and you're showing late payments, or derogatory information, you should try to address this even before getting to the lender. But if you do go to the lender with our program, when we're working with Fairway Mortgage, Diane in particular, that she's going to refer you to us anyway to have a lot of this information removed. Like she said earlier, credit is one of the determining factors for the amount of down payment. So the higher your credit score, there's a strong possibility there'll be a lower payment on your behalf, or lower down payment, closing costs, or whatever the case may be. But you're going to save a lot of money by being proactive and attacking this negative information on your credit report prior to going to see the lender or prior to getting the mortgage. So the credit reporting agencies are violating laws. That's how this information is coming off your credit report. They have to verify this information. They're not doing that. They don't have any original contracts to actually say this information belongs to the client, and the client did, in fact, commit this negative entry. So we go in and we give you the laws. And some laws will say, are real simple laws, like this is not my account, or I was never late. Well, you were, in fact, late, and the account does belong to you if you're talking to the lender. But you're talking to the third party, which is the credit reporting agencies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. When they receive the information from the lender, they must verify this information before putting it on your credit report and selling it as factual information. They're selling this information as factual information, and the lender has nothing to go on other than the information that the credit reporting agency supplies them. So it's incumbent upon the consumer to be proactive and start to address this information, specifically the negative information on your credit report, prior to going to get a loan. Okay? So we are really out there trying to get people, preferably even before they get to Diane, so that we won't waste the mortgage and the realtor's time by trying to transform them into some type of credit experts. My job is the credit. I'm not a lender. I'm not a seller. I do credit. So that is my expertise. Now, I get a lot of times, the consumers come to me and say, am I ready for a loan? I have no idea. As a credit repair person, our job is to clean up credit. And the reason why we can't give you a definitive answer on whether you're ready for a loan or not is, one, is that we're not a lender. Two, is that the scores from the credit aid, from these free sites in which we get our scores, they're not accurate anyway. Usually they're about 50 to 70 points less when the lender pulls it. So whatever score is reflected on your free credit report, just probably a matter of practice is to deduct about 50 to 75 points, sometimes even more, and then you have be closer to the score that the lender's going to give, because they grade you on a much tighter guideline, which is, it's okay with me. But I want to make sure most people understand that scoring system, because they're looking at their free credit reports, Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, Credit Check Total, etc., and thinking that this is their accurate score. No, it's not an accurate score. What we're looking at those free sites for is because the content is usually accurate. The score is probably not. Our job is cleaning up the credit, not so much raising the score. Of course, we'd love to take full credit for that, but that's more of a joint effort. As we're removing the negatives off of the credit report using the Fair Credit Reporting Act, then as the information is coming off, the system is going to rescore you based on your existing positive information. And perfectly seasoned trade lines are going to give you more points than new trade lines.
All right, William, we got to take a break here. A lot of information. William Crowley, the credit magician. More from William. Got Diane, Vance as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the investor side of real estate coming up, what's happening with some of the Airbnb properties, and also what kind of credit score do you actually need. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your buying decisions, your investment opportunities, and also listing your properties is our specialty. We're going to help you maximize the exposure and get more exposure for your listings to help you sell faster for more money. And we got a couple of hot properties here. 422 Wildwood Way. This is in Bel Air, Florida. Pinellas County, Florida. Great opportunity here. Two-story property. We've got a gorgeous two-story home here. Newer 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home, large double garage. Great opportunity. Surrounded by a pro-style golf. Minutes to the beach right here at 422 Wildwood Way in Bel Air. Great opportunity for you. 8325 West Hillsboro Avenue is also a commercial asset. This is an opportunity for business owners to stop paying those lease payments and own your own building. 8325 West Hillsboro Avenue is a freestanding office building, large conference room, small kitchen, couple bathrooms, and 8 rooms, 8 offices available, plus signage on Hillsboro Avenue in Tampa Bay with about 50,000 cars a day seeing your message right out on the main thoroughfare there at 8325 West Hillsboro Avenue in Tampa. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And this segment is brought to you by the Maher Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the beautiful Maher Beach Resort on Treasure Island, Florida. Great opportunity to have a local staycation or a vacation here, and 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant. Maher Beach Resort right here in Tampa Bay, Treasure Island, Florida. Make sure you give Clyde Smith, he's the general manager, a call, book directly, and let him know that the real estate quarterback sent you so you can take him up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we've got Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, our local expert contributor for the mortgage space, all things mortgage qualifying for residential, commercial mortgages, as well as William Crowley, more from William coming up here on the credit restoration side. But Diane, I wanted to spend a few minutes here and just talk about, the investment opportunity, the tremendous amount of people that are moving down to Florida and potentially people, looking for investment opportunities here in Tampa Bay. What are you seeing on your end?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of people are actually wanting to buy second homes here because they want to retire here in the next 2 to 3 years. And with second homes, you can purchase with 10% down. But I'm seeing a lot of investors that also want to purchase, because they might want to retire here eventually, but in the meantime, they want to rent it out yearly or Airbnb or something like that. And those are 15% down. So the minimum credit score for any conventional loan is 620. Now, what they want to see is that you do own a house now. So if you're renting and you want to buy investment property, that'll be a challenge. But if you own your home right now and you want to buy an investment property, that's fine. If it's your first investment property, your second, third, you can buy up to 10 investment properties with direct through any of the agencies, which are Fannie and Freddie. So you can buy up to 10 properties. Actually, your wife could buy 10 and you could buy 10. So depending on your personal situation, that could happen in a family. So, a lot of people that are wanting to eventually retire and they're still working up north or out west, or we're having a lot of people coming from California, a lot of people coming from New York, a lot of people coming from Kentucky recently, which is different. But anyway, so we don't have income tax. So their plan is they're planning ahead. They want to buy because they've read that Florida is actually appreciating in property values.
Yep.
So they want to start to plan ahead. But they can purchase, right now and, as an investor and start building their portfolio.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point also that you made earlier with Pinellas County that has, I think you said 104,000 renters that could actually qualify to buy.
Yep. Like
so these are people that are
739.
Say that again.
103,739. 103,739 people.
Yeah. So these are people that could afford to buy. They don't do it just because of different reasons. They're not sure. They don't understand, the qualifications, the minimum down payments. But it's also fueling that investor side because the investors love to buy the property and let you pay a premium for the rent. And by the way, Harvard did a study about 6 or 7 years ago. Their rents are rising, and of course, they've continued to rise over the years, Diane.
Oh yes, they are, and I don't see them coming down anytime soon. I believe that as properties appreciate, the same thing is happening in rent. And the fact is, you can actually purchase a home for what you pay in rent or close to it. So if you can pay that amount in rent, why not go ahead and purchase a home? But you're right, investors, that's the reason it's such a profitable investment in Florida, because there's no shortage of renters. So people wanting to invest in properties, whether they're planning on it or just to build a real estate portfolio, it depends on what they want. But it's there, and they don't feel like they're going to lose because they're building wealth, and they know there's not a shortage of renters to be able to rent to. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
And right now, let's also, and let me just reset here, Diane Vance on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Fairway Independent Mortgage. But right now, we're dealing with, Governor DeSantis came out and said, again, the moratorium on evictions is pushed down to September 1st. These landlords have to be getting frustrated. But on the flip side of that, how do we really want people to be kicked out into the streets because how COVID-19 has affected the economy? It's always a win-lose or a win. When you look at those decisions, what's your take on the moratoriums on the mortgage as well?
Well, it's. Oh, you mean for the forbearance? What we're finding is we're finding some people. Actually, the forbearance was actually the lowest it's been in the last 30 days. So people are coming out of the forbearance. It's a good thing that it's there, but what we're finding, a lot of people really need to follow up on it. I was telling you earlier on the show that I had a customer that ended up they went into forbearance for 2 months, and they before you can buy, and she was a move-up buyer. She wanted to buy another house, or she wanted to move from a condo into a house, and she ended up making the payment up, but they ended up applying it to principal, so she was making the payment, so her credit report was kind of messed up for a few weeks. But it was extra work for her because she had to go in and explain, no, I wanted to make those payments so that I could actually buy my next house. But we're actually seeing forbearances. It's a good thing it's there for people that really do need it. I mean, it's and it's the same with the moratorium. It hurts the landlord, but at the same time, you're right. Do we want to evict people that are because of no fault of their own, they can't make their payments, for whatever reasons. But I think all the things that the government has done to put in place to help people has actually helped them during this time. I think we would be in a worse economic situation had we not had the help for unemployment, the help for, renters. So I believe that it would have been a worse situation. And, unfortunately, nobody planned the COVID. Nobody planned to, have any of those things happen. So, but we're seeing that it's starting. Forbearance is actually less than it was. But we're seeing people making up their payments or putting in, again, a plan to put in place. They can modify that, or they can spread it out over a 12-month period. So there's a lot of things they're doing to get it caught up.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how we're going to go forward here because, you've got, of course, Congress is the Democrats want to pass a $3 trillion, next round of funding, and the Republicans are countering at a trillion. So it's still a ton of money. I just got to feel like that's watering down our dollar, and it's making our currency that much more less valuable worldwide.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is. I don't know that. My thing is, how are you spending it? I'm actually okay with paying more taxes to help others. But, where is it being spent? Is it spent to build a building, or is it spent to actually help people?
Yeah.
And, I'm okay with helping people.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with, building a new FBI building or something. I happen to read the thing, and that's one thing that's in there. So I'm not okay with that. But I'm okay with, I believe we have to do what we have to do right now to help people. And I think in the long run, it's going to help everybody. But yes, the debt is growing. And I think we probably have a little more that we're going to have to do, now. So.
Yep. That's right. Yep. All right. Well, so let's take a quick break here. We're going to come back more from Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Also, William Crowley, our credit restoration expert. William Crowley is going to offer his free credit package to anyone out there that might want to take action and improve their credit score. Stand by. We're going to have 3 to 5 of those offered out to you, to our radio show listening family, our TV show family as well. And our feel-good story of the day, police officer buys homeless man a new pair of shoes. Find out about this kind-hearted police officer right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Brandon Rhymes, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Got a great lineup for you here today, talking about real estate, talking about mortgage, credit improvement, investment opportunities right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. This segment's brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Local or long-distance moves, reach out to Brothers Easy Moving and make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Got a hot property listing, great investment opportunity at 19206 U.S. Highway 19 North in Clearwater. This is a car dealership, currently operating as a car dealership right here in Tampa Bay. Prime location because you're on 19, US 19, of course, one of the major thoroughfares throughout all of Tampa Bay with about 50,000 cars, vehicles coming by every day. A great opportunity for a 1031 exchange. You got 5 offices, a reception area, kitchen, break room, conference room, 3 covered detail bays, 3 garage bays, workshops, server room, lots of opportunity at 19206 U.S. Highway 19 North in Clearwater. And taking you over to Land O' Lakes here, 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O' Lakes. This is a property that is on the waterfront. You've got 8 lots, prime opportunity for a builder developer at 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O' Lakes. It's on Bell Lake, which is a 90-acre ski lake right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 8 home sites, and the land has been cleared and is level, and also have the entitlements in place. So reach out to our hotline. We'd love to talk to you about any of our real estate property listings, or if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, and you want that expert representation that we can give you by a top 1% real estate team here in Tampa Bay, you can reach out at our hotline. 813-670-7372 is our consumer advocate hotline. 813-670-7372. Also bookmark the website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available at consumerqb.com, helping you win in any marketplace. Also, telling you some positive news here as well.
Tell me something good.
All right, we got a police officer buys homeless man a new pair of shoes. Kind-hearted police officers out of Plano, Texas, ended with an act of kindness for a homeless man. A police call in Plano, Texas, that is. Plano, Texas Department recently received a call to check the welfare of a homeless man. And, quote, our officers spoke to the man and offered to provide him assistance. And often, as happens, as he advised that he was fine and refused our help, the police department wrote on a Facebook post. And as a dispatcher later made the police department aware that the man's shoes were so worn that they were shredded. And after finishing the call, Officer David Hogan went and bought a pair of shoes, and so the man would have a decent pair since he walks everywhere he goes. And, quote, just another example of the acts of kindness our law enforcement officers do on a regular basis, but we rarely hear about it. And we don't do this for the recognition. We do it because we care. So, again, another great officer of the police department. Back the blue is what we say here in Salem radio world here. So let's jump right back into it. We got Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, William Crowley, the credit restoration genius and the credit magician here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So, right. William, I want to go back to you.
Yep.
What else are you seeing out there in the credit report world? And then, of course, we're going to offer your credit package.
Right. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, that's a great story, and we don't hear enough positive stuff about what the police are doing out there. We do need the police, and not to judge them on just some isolated cases. So I have a great story.
Thank you.
Yep. This country here is one of the greatest countries in the world because it allows consumers to actually protect themselves, and Congress, the government puts in place laws that actually we can use to benefit ourselves. And a lot of people do abuse it, okay?
Right.
Because the information that's on that credit report does, in fact, belong to people. And I have to reiterate this over and over again every time I speak. The information does belong to you, but Congress put in place in 1970 a consumer law called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So let's make it fair and balanced. So the credit reporting agencies, they can report this information, but it has to be factual information. They must verify it, beyond a shadow of a doubt by contacting you, the consumer, prior to putting this information on the credit report. Prior to putting the information on the credit report, let me make sure we reemphasize that, because the credit reporting agencies are not doing that. So that gives consumers a second chance. And it definitely helps the real estate and the mortgage industry, because a lot of these people are good people that have made mistakes. So that the Fair Credit Reporting Act, in combination with the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, can help people get back on their feet and help to strengthen the real estate industry. So we need these consumers out there to get their credit up to par so they can be purchasers. And like Diane said earlier, the 620 score, of course, that's the minimum. They would love to see you much higher than that, and that's what our job is in the credit improvement industry, is to help you to get the highest score possible by removing as much negative information off that credit report, legally removing as much information off that credit report as possible. So in the packages that we're going to be giving out, is going to encompass all of the information that I've already said. We're going to be sharing you documentation on the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, even aspects of the CFPB, that's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and the Uniform Commercial Code as well. So we've got a ton of information to share with you, and we also want to emphasize that everybody out there with a Social Security number should have what they call a promotional block on their credit reports. The credit reporting agencies are not going to let you know about this, folks, because they make money on it. We'll put a huge dent in their pockets because they can't sell your information any longer if you put this promotional block on. We'll have that number in there. I can even mention that number on the air if that's fine with Brandon.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And that number is 888-567-8688. 888-567-8688. And for the millennials, you're going to probably just go to www.prescreenoptout or optoutprescreen.com. Us older folks like to call in. The younger folks are probably going to use the internet. So either way, they're going to give you the option to opt out. The reason why I'm really adamant about this, everybody putting a promotional block on their credit report, is because the credit reporting agencies are probably the biggest perpetrator of identity theft, which we do talk about periodically on this show as well. The credit reporting agencies are the biggest perpetrator of identity theft. Okay, one of the biggest ones, because they're selling your information to anybody. Whoever wants to purchase that information. If you don't have a promotional block on there, your information is going to be sold right in the basket with everybody else, and you don't know who, and there's really no way for the credit reporting agency to be able to tell what type of character is buying your credit report and what their motivations are. They just sell the information, okay? They don't do any type of background research or whatever. They're selling the information. So if you're not on that list, that makes you less vulnerable. So everybody should have a promotional block on their credit report, whether you have good credit or bad credit. Definitely, if you have good credit, you should have a promotional block on, because most of the time, people that are participating in identity theft, the initiators of it, they're looking for people with good credit, not bad credit. So the package is going to have a lot of good information in there, and I want to encourage you to read this information. Also, the information is found at the Federal Trade Commission website, ftc.gov. You can find copies of the CFPB, the FDCPA, and the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and other consumer laws. So familiarize yourselves with this. The consumer laws should be looked at just like the Constitution of this country. We have a Constitution that people died for in this country to help give us rights. And if we're not careful, they're going to take a lot of these rights away. If we, the people, don't become proactive and familiarize ourselves with these laws, they're going to be taken away. So I'm always emphasizing the fact that people looking at the laws of the consumer laws,
yep,
to protect yourself, and look at these your civil rights as well, the Constitution. These laws, it's a wonderful country because it gives us these laws. All we have to do is enforce them. So please, please, please read the information that I sent to you. If you don't call in, you can still go to the internet and get this information off of ftc.gov. How much time do I got, buddy?
Well, let's do the offer then. So text credit to our hotline, and we're going to hook you up with that credit package that William Crowley so eloquently described. 813-670-7372. Text the word credit to our hotline at 813-670-7372. 7372. You can call and leave a voicemail, of course, if you're driving, but text the word credit to our hotline, 813-670-7372. We're going to put you in touch with William Crowley and his team if you want to improve your credit. And you can also text mortgage to the same number if you'd like to have more information from Diane Vance and find out what you would qualify and how you can get out of renting, especially if you're renting out there. You know, if you're a renter, text the word rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to that hotline, the 670-7372, and we'll also put together a rent versus own analysis for you and help you understand your buying decisions, understanding what you're throwing away paying to a landlord for versus what you can own for, and experience the tax deductions, the appreciation, and of course the quality of life by owning your own property. We got just about a minute left, so I want to go back to Diane for a quick parting word of wisdom, lightning round tip to Diane, and then we'll try to get back to William.
Okay, a little to bounce off of what William said, the better your credit score, the better your interest rate is going to be, and the better if you have to have mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is given when required when it's less than 20% down, which most people are less than 20% down. And the mortgage insurance is actually very, very low when you have a higher credit score. So even if you have above that 620, sometimes it might be best to see how can you get a little higher. So just to bounce off of that from William, that is a big thing for people. So it's the biggest. Everything is based on credit score. Even your homeowner's insurance, everything out there is. So Getting that taken care of is very, very important.
All right, good stuff. William Crowley, thanks so much. We appreciate you always bringing some great knowledge today. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage as well. Another great show. I want to thank all of our expert contributors, our producers, our whole team behind the scenes. And thank you for calling in and reaching out to the show. We've had an uptick in calls lately. People reaching out, want to know about their credit improvement, ways that they can buy real estate, supporting our insurance partners, our expert contributors, CPAs, financial advisors. So many ways that we can help you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you check out consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time